Hello and welcome back to another video where today I am going to be going over the recent Ubisoft game leak that is apparently saying all of Ubisoft's upcoming games from now until about 2025. So let's start off with the games that we know are actually coming. The first one is Avatar: Frontlines of Pandora, and its release window is between April 2022 and March 2023. My guess is that it will be released around the time of Avatar 2, the film, which I believe is coming out in December. So it'd be a couple of weeks before. It might come out maybe like end of November, as Ubisoft normally do like a big game for the holiday season. From what I've heard, Frontlines of Pandora will be a live service game where once they've released Frontlines of Pandora for each subsequent Avatar film, they would just update it with maybe like a new storyline to do with each of the films. The second game is one we've been hearing about for many years, and that is Skull and Bones. And just like Frontiers of Pandora, the expected release window is April 2022 to March 2023. Now, I have no idea what point in this window the game could release. Maybe it could be like an early 2023 game, or it could be like a summer 2022 game. We honestly have no idea. But what we do know is that as E3 has been cancelled, Ubisoft will do some Ubisoft Forward maybe before, as I think I heard rumours of they want to do one in May, because they wanted to get it done before E3 when that's actually going ahead. So hopefully in May we will find out what the hell is going on with Skull and Bones and also the other games on this list. So now we are moving on to games that only have release years, and that being this year. Those games are Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope and Roller Champions. Obviously we knew they were coming out this year because Ubisoft announced that as much, but we don't have actual concrete release windows that we have with the previous games I've mentioned. Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope I could see possibly being an early autumn-ish game, and Roller Champions I could see maybe being like a summer release. I'm not sure if Roller Champions is free to play. I don't think it is, but I could definitely see it being like a fun summer release that you can just play and have fun with. If Ubisoft do indeed end up doing a Ubisoft Forward in May, then I doubt we will get much on Mario and Rabbids, because obviously that's a Nintendo property, sort of, so I think they would just save it for the next Nintendo Direct, which probably will be around the time E3 was supposed to happen. That's my guess anyway. These next two games are games we've known about, but they don't actually have release windows, that being X-Defiant and Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake. Now, X-Defiant, I'm not too sure because I haven't really been keeping up with that, but Sands of Time remake, I've made a couple of videos on the channel. If you want to back and watch them, you can. But I hope it comes out this year, because one, I'm selfish and I want to play it, but I'm not sure what they're actually doing to the game. I thought they were just overhauling the graphics, but if there isn't a release window, then maybe they're doing a lot more to it. Like maybe they're building the whole game from the ground up, which would seem like a waste of all the hard work they've done before. But with the backlash the initial trailer got, which was only that the character models looked a bit rough, which would make sense because the game was in, I think, alpha at the time. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure what is going on with Sands of Time remake. I'm sure we'll get it at some point, but just whether that will be soon, I'm not too sure. Two games I forgot to mention earlier were The Division Heartlands, which has a release window of April 2022 to March 2023, and also The Division Mobile, which we don't currently have a release window for. Now let's move on to the games that haven't been announced yet, and I think it's best to start off with the elephants in the room, that being Assassin's Creed Rift and Assassin's Creed Infinity. Like the Sands of Time remake, I have made videos on both of these before. I will leave them linked in the description. But AC Rift has a window of Q4 2022 till Q2 2023. Like I said in my previous video on this game, I would love it to be Q4, but if the game needs more time, then maybe delaying it till early 2023 could be a good thing. And Assassin's Creed Infinity is expected to be either 2024 or 2025. Maybe we'll get like a short announcement this year, just kind of like showing us kind of what we could expect. But if the game is being released in 2024 or 2025, then maybe that will be saved until next year. But maybe we could get like a little official announcement being like, we are working on the next generation of Assassin's Creed, because I know it is technically been announced in an earnings call, I'm pretty sure. It hasn't been officially confirmed yet, so maybe a confirmation would be nice. Now, this next game actually quite surprised me, and that is a sequel to Immortals Phoenix Rising. Now, I know Immortals Phoenix Rising, I think, sold fairly well. I still need to go back and finish it, actually. But from what I played, I really enjoyed it. And I think the DLCs added new mythologies, if I'm thinking correctly. I know they added, I think, Chinese mythology, but I don't know if they added any more. So I could see a potential Immortals Phoenix Rising sequel maybe taking place in the Chinese mythology, or maybe they'll do sort of an Assassin's Creed where each game is a different mythology. I think that would be cool, but also I don't know if there was enough appetite for people wanting to see a sequel to Immortals Phoenix Rising. As from the general consensus I saw online, it was people saying, yeah, it's good, it's similar to Breath of the Wild, and that's about it. So I think if they do end up doing a sequel, I'll be very interested to see where it goes and what mythology and stuff they will do next. Will they keep Phoenix and just have them continuing to go through ancient Greece? I don't know. I'm interested to see what that will be, and its release window is currently unknown. This next one is another game that surprises me. They are working on a second Prince of Persia game, and it isn't going to be a remake of, say, The Warrior Within, for example. It is rumoured to be a game in the style of the Ori games. For those of you who aren't aware, the Ori game is kind of like a 2D Metroidvania game. And I think for Prince of Persia that could work, but also, should they be working on another game when they haven't even got the first one out the door yet? I think maybe see how Sands of Time remake sells and the actual response to it, and then maybe release this new Prince of Persia game. I would be really surprised if they actually release this untitled one before the Sands of Time remake comes out, as if that does end up happening, then you know something has gone horribly wrong with the Sands of Time remake. And just like the Immortals Phoenix Rising sequel, its release date is unknown. Now, this isn't a big surprise considering the previous two games in this series I think have sold pretty well and quite a lot of people like them. That is The Crew 3, which is currently called Project Orlando. And just like the previous two games I've mentioned, the release window is unknown. And the last game on the list is a game that I think has been announced, I'm pretty sure, unless I'm making it up, and that is the Splinter Cell remake. And I'm not entirely sure how I feel about them remaking the first Splinter Cell. To me, that kind of gives off the impression that they don't have faith in the Splinter Cell franchise anymore, and they're remaking the first game just kind of dip their toe in the water and see what the reception is. Then if it's a good reception, then they'll make more. But yeah, I'm just a bit confused by this, and its release window is similar to Assassin's Creed Infinity, that is 2024 or 2025. And that is the Ubisoft Games Leak. Now, a game you won't have seen on the list is the Star Wars game that Ubisoft are making. What is actually going on with that? Because obviously it got announced back last year, I believe, and then aside from that we've heard nothing. Since then, we've got a trailer for Star Wars Eclipse, a game that is apparently coming out in 2027 and got announced way too early, but we'll see how that pans out. I am going to be cautious about this new Star Wars game because, like most Ubisoft games, they tend to make their games really big and fill it with not boring stuff, but just there's a lot of repetition in the stuff that you want to do side quest wise. So hopefully with it presumably being on next gen, Ubisoft will take a look at the new quote unquote Ubisoft formula for this generation and maybe focus on making not better games, but just games that have more substance to them. And as to when the game could release, I honestly have no idea. It could be similar to maybe Assassin's Creed Infinity being 2024, 2025, or it could be 10 years in the future. We honestly have no idea. But that's all I have for this video. If you've liked it, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you in another video.